Hello, I'm Mr. Pibbles, and welcome back to our Challenge Park series here in Planet Coaster 2. Now, what did we do in our last episode? Well, we built this wonderful little rapids ride here and sort of themed up this area over here for the Whitewater Logging Company. And people do seem to be liking this ride, so that is all good. And in between episodes, what I've done is I've come through and I've just added all the theming for this place, including this wonderful little house here, well, this wonderful little building here, being built out of logs, just adding all of the bits and pieces needed over here, because today, it's an exciting day. We are finally getting towards the end of this series. So today we are coming over here and we are finishing off this series with what else but a lovely roller coaster. So without further ado, let's roll that time lapse.
Yes. Hello, and for the final time in this series, welcome to the time lapse segment for this episode. It's bittersweet, you know. We are finally getting toward the end of this series, and indeed this small park project. I can't believe that we're finally there, though. But that is enough about me being sentimental for now. I'm sure I'll do enough of it throughout this episode. Where are we going today? Well, as I've said previously, today we are working on this vertical drop roller coaster. And I thought it fitting that for our final episode in Planet Coaster 2's Challenge Park series, we do indeed build a roller coaster. So, this is what we're doing today. Now, when I had the idea for this area of the park, this was actually one of the first things that I thought about including, was this kind of, the set of cliffs as the backdrop with this vertical drop roller coaster that goes into it, because this is my first time really playing around with a drop roller coaster in this game. You know, I played around with one in Planet Coaster 1. I had quite a fun one that I enjoyed in a park that I had running, and I thought I'd try something similar-ish here. So obviously my I don't want to say my real-world equivalent, because it's nowhere near, but my real-world equivalent is, indeed, Oblivion at Alton Towers. That's the one that I'm familiar with. But I wouldn't quite call it a one-to-one, because this does so much. And actually, this is only our, what? I want to say 5th roller coaster, because we had the Barnstormer all the way back in episode 5. Then we had the Sakura, which is quite fun. Then we went on and we had Splash Boating and then Roman Racer. So here we are now with our 5th and final roller coaster for this park. Well, I will keep the name a surprise for now, but I know what it is. So yeah, in the vein of this being a vertical drop roller coaster, what I could have done is just made it kind of come round, go back to the station, and that's it. And I did think about that for a while, but then I went, actually, no, you know what? Yous deserve more than just a simple out and back. So let's try something a little bit more. And the other thing that I set out for myself that I didn't really stick to was that I wanted this to be, you know, non-inverting. Which I'll tell you now, I did not stick to at all. So instead, we are kind of keeping this coaster very much close to the terrain on the outside of this area. I did toy around with having that helix there, and you can see me there kind of watching that drop down and drop over the ridge there and circle its way down, which is quite fun. But, you know, it didn't quite work. We weren't exactly getting enough excitement out of this, because I wanted this to be an exciting coaster. Ooh, I've just realised, no, it's our 6th and final coaster, because we had Joust. But then I kind of forgot about that, but then most people do, so... yeah, kind of bringing this up here, I then thought, actually, how do we get it from here to the brake run? Because obviously the brake run has to sit down by the brakes down there and into the stations. So how do we do that? Well, you will see in a sec. But for now, we've got this kind of path, kind of coming up around there, having a bit of a flyover. I did toy with the idea of having a brake run up the top there, but ultimately I went, nah. So instead you can see me here sticking in this brake run. It does clutter up this area a little bit, but I don't think that matters much. I think it does still look quite impressive in the way that it all kind of comes together. But there we go. So you can see me here reverse engineering this coaster, which is quite fun. So, you know, obviously I've gone, okay, where are we starting? And then I've gone, okay, where are we ending? And then I just need to figure out how we're getting from point A to point B. So, kind of really what we're working with here is the question of, how do we get it from up there to down here? And you'll see what I do in a sec. But yeah, this has been a really fun series to work on. I remember starting this last year, and then working on it for 30 episodes to get this absolutely wonderful little park. And is it a big park? No. But is it a fun park? I would definitely say so. And obviously I've been away in the background, I've added all these little details around, and I think it works quite well. So this here is how we're connecting up these areas. So I toyed around with the idea of it not inverting whatsoever, but then I thought, actually, you know what, we've got this bridge here, we might as well use it. So we've got this almost... It's not quite a dive loop, but it's also not quite a sidewinder. It sort of sits somewhere in that balance of sort of being that almost inversion, I think. If not an outright inversion. But you can see it there running around the layout there, and it doesn't quite make it, but I thought I'd cut the footage there and we'll have a cut in the footage to this coaster being completely done, because you don't want to see me sitting around for hours tweaking and making everything look okay. But I have made a couple of small I did make a couple of small tweaks between starting and finishing. One of the big tweaks that I made was actually increasing the steepness of the drop at the top. Well, not increasing the steepness, but increasing the steepness of the of the lift hill. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. And so you can see me now coming in and just caving this all out and kind of making this all seem like a bit of a cave. And I do like the interactions that this has with the river rapids. It is quite fun. And you can see that I'm always checking for clearance here and there, just to make sure that we do indeed have that element of clearance all throughout the coaster. And you can see it flying over. Now this is one of the big changes I've made. This bit down here has all become a lot more kind of up and down. It just makes sure that the stats that we're getting on that are better than we expected. And then coming in over here just to sort of sort out this wonderful bit of bridge out here so that we can easily fly over it. I do think that does look really nice in hindsight. We've got a couple of near-miss elements here with the lift hill for the rapids, sorry. And then there is another near-miss element there with that. But there we go. Let's cave that. I don't think cave that out's the right word, but we'll make that a bit of a cave so that we can build this station in a bit, which is quite fun. And I do like this also, this element of kind of things coming together here. It looks quite fun. But before we start the station, let's actually get everything in terms of pathing. So I wanted this to be similar, but not exactly the same as the Whitewater logging company that we've got over the other side. So I toyed around with, okay, how do I make that seem a lot funner, a lot better? And the other sort of issue that we faced with this is the fact that it's across the river from the main path. So I had to build in this bridge, and I built it in really, really early, just so I can make sure that I've got the clearance. And so coming in and changing all the colours here, we finally can start something. So I wanted to initially start off by kind of customizing the train a little bit, but I realised actually it doesn't exactly need it necessarily to look good. Like, at the end of the day, I think just the train itself looks good enough, which is quite fun. So there we go. But yeah, no, this park has been an absolute joy to work on. It's been wonderful making these episodes for you. I remember when it started out 30 episodes ago, we built our very first ride, our very first plaza with the HMS Victorious in the opening section, and since then the park has grown, and what can I say? It has been lovely building episodes since, including the absolute wonders of the ghost train. That was a fun one to build. The karting circuit, that was also a fun one to build. A lovely little kids area with the barnstormer, that was also a very fun build. And yeah, now in terms of theming for this ride, I very much wanted it to have the vibe, shall we say, of a of sort of this mining facility in it sort of into the cave itself, into the hill, into the mountain face. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words left, right, and centre here. So we've ended up with this structure here that's on stilts. Now, as much as I like the way that this looks, I will go and change it, I think off camera. Just because, as much as I like the way that the stilts look on that, there is a better way of doing that. And I didn't figure out that better way of doing that until much later on, so there we go. But you can see me in here kind of building up this structure and then putting in these kind of walls. So we do have that overhang, but then we also have a bit more structure kind of towards the back of the building, which is fun. Now coming in here, I also wanted to cover up the brake run and kind of do something with that, because I thought that could be quite fun to play around with. So we have done exactly that here, in sort of kind of adding these bits and pieces, and then kind of very much creating this overhang section here. And I did check it from the other side, and it does not bleed through into the cave, which is good. Kind of, that would have been an annoying bit of kind of contention for the whole area if this building kind of bled through, but it doesn't. Now this is really the catalyst of me going, okay, actually maybe we can do something more interesting with that, because you can see there that the pieces that I have don't exactly align nicely, shall we say, to the bridge. So I thought, actually, how can we make a bridge nicer, and we will see that a lot later. But for now, let's get a roof on top of this brake run, and you can see this. We're using the corrugated iron once again, because it just works so well. But unfortunately, you will see in a sec that we actually change it out for the 1 meter tool in a sec, just because I was a bit worried about clearance on the ride, because obviously it flies over this section. And I'm glad that I did. I don't know if it would have fitted or not, but there we go. And we don't actually have this corrugated roof as just a flat piece, so instead I had to make do with what I had. But there we go. So then coming in here, we can sort of properly cap off the end of this building really nicely. And I just like the way that this looks. There's just enough clearance, but I do really like the way that it looks. So adding just that little bit more clearance to it, I think works quite well in the favour of this ride. Now you can see in here that the station building itself is very bare at the moment. We will make sure that that's not the case when we come to the actual ride itself, which I think is what we're starting off with here. I don't know. You see, I record these episodes, then I go away from it and then come back to narrate it. So there we go. No, we're actually starting off with the queue line. And I had a really fun idea for this queue line. You'll see it kind of coming into here now. But yeah, okay, we're starting this side of the river. How do we get over the other side of the river? Well, I didn't want to do another bridge because I've already done a bridge. Instead, we are going behind the waterfall. And that's an idea that I had kind of very early on that I thought would be, in a word, quite silly. And I am very glad that I went for this decision because it works so well for what it is. And actually, once you've got all the guests in the queue behind this, I just really like it. I think it works well for what it is. So as I say, you can see me here, kind of bringing that across, just making this little pathway. Apparently it's still intersecting terrain, and I had no idea what I was doing wrong, and then I realised, oh, it's the water. It's the water, isn't it? You can see me realise it there. So I get rid of the water to make sure I can replace it, and then we go in, we build this walkway behind the waterfall, and then we just bring it out the other side before adding the water back and just cleaning this up, really, just to make it feel a lot more almost cavern-like, but also I wanted it to be so you can stand behind there and look out and actually see the thing itself. So with that out the way, we can now start on our queue line, which I wanted to do again a snaking queue line that went up and went down, sort of around itself and around this building. So you can see me here bringing it down through these bits down here and sort of up and around this. And at the end of the day, I just really like the way that this looks. I think it looks quite good. And then kind of we're doing what we did with the coaster in, we're sort of sorting out one end, then we sort out the other end, and then we tie them together. Now we do have a problem here in that we don't have enough power. That will be something that I sort out in kind of the meantime. But for now, you can see me here playing around with these wooden poles. But it's these wooden poles that really give me an idea of what to do with the rest of the queue line and ride building itself. So I can't remember if I do it on video. I don't think I do, because I did a lot of theming off camera just to leave it mostly a surprise for all of you at home. But starting off with these bits and pieces here, kind of you can see really what I'm going for in this sort of very much scaffolding, really. And I wanted scaffolding to really be the vibe of this, that then kind of bleeds over to be the vibe of the whole kind of building itself. But yeah, no, we are slowly approaching the end of the episode now. Well, the end of this time-lapse segment. I think we've got about a minute or two left. So I will quickly come in and preface everything that I'm doing now with, I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you've enjoyed every episode that you've watched, if you have watched every episode. If not, they are all in the playlist, so please do feel free to go back and watch them all, give them a look, and just in general, enjoy them. I haven't exactly had the biggest amount of traction with this, but then I'm not doing this for traction, I'm doing this for the love of the game. And I'm doing this because I enjoy this game, and I think more people need to see kind of what I'm doing. And it's nicer to share what I'm doing with other people, just because it's fun, to really just go, so here's what I'm doing, I hope you all enjoy. And that's really what I have been doing. So that is to say, we will be starting another Planet Coaster 2 series after this one. I've got a really fun idea in mind. I've got it mostly planned out, which is fun, so we're going to get onto that within time, which is fun. But yeah. So this has been wonderful, and you can see me here coming in for the bridge with these wooden poles now, which I said I was going to do. But yeah, no, this has been a wonderful series to work on. Thank you for anyone and everyone who has supported me. And if you're new here, then hello, welcome. And please feel free to look at all of my other videos if you want to see some more things that are coming out. We'll take a little bit of a break from Planet Coaster, but then we'll be right back. See you in real time.
Okay, I'm just going to turn that off there. Welcome back to Real Time. Now you may be wondering, oh, why are we looking back this way instead of at the stuff that we've just done? That's because I've worked a little bit off camera just to get these all completely sorted, and this is what we're left with. So this is our wonderful vertical drop coaster dynamite mine, and we've got this wonderful what do you call it, queue line here that snakes its way up here, snakes its way through here, up this structure, which I did completely sort of revamp from where we had it, and I've also kind of put stuff down there for the rapids, which is fun. Now coming over this way, we'll start over here. So you can see here with the block, with the brake run that we have here, kind of we've got all these lights up here now, and it's the same in this station building. It's a bit bare, but what can you do? Then coming out here, we've got this section through the mine there, which is then also shared with the rapids, which is really cool. I do like the way that this looks. It's slightly silly, but I do like it. And then you'll notice that there's this there's this kink in the thing here. That's just because I wanted to get it a little bit higher because of that. And that is where we get to the top here and the drop, which I have completely sort of done with this mine engine, and it looks really cool with this sort of structure that brings you down into the cavern, which again you can actually see from the rapids, which is really cool, which then dives under, comes out here again by the rapids. Let's say you're here and you're coming down this way, you could see something just whoosh up there. That's really cool. Then this comes over the top of the rapids, back into town, round the outskirts of Balloonist, over the top of the station building. I really like this element. Initially, I wasn't going to have the an inversion, but, you know, this isn't quite an inversion because it doesn't invert necessarily, but I really like the sort of dive nature of that. And then that brings us down into the brake run, and I really like the way that this all looks. And I'm not actually going to kind of stick around here for now. I'm actually going to come back here because this coaster is now visible from a lot of the park, which is absolutely fascinating stuff. It's like you can see it from back over here, which is really cool. And if we want to take it even further, which I think this is where we'll end today's episode, we will end it right at the start of the park, where you can see the silhouette up there. So if you have enjoyed this episode, then please give me a like, give me a comment, possibly even a subscribe if I'm lucky enough, and I will see you in the next episode. Ta-ta, roll that outro.